Hello, you malty, miserable marketing muppets of malt. Not a very tactful malt mention, but hey, it's a malt mention, and thank you to Neil Burton for providing it. I'm Ralphie, this is the Bothy, somewhere in the Irish Sea, etc, 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 and the home of quality spirits reviews, primarily single malt Scotch whisky, which is what I focus on, because as time goes on, with the internet, specialists have to specialise. And it's actually quite a good time to be specialising because there's so much single malt Scotch whisky available, and there's still Scotch whiskies which are available at relatively good value. And oh, excuse me a second. Hi, sweetheart. Come here. Come get a wee kiss. Oh, come up. Coming up to say hello. Come on. You come up to say hello to the malt mates. No, yeah. Come here, you. You're not getting away that easy. You little cheeky rascal. Here he's wandered down. I think this is becoming a regular appearance now. Here's Fluffy. I'm doing a rum review, Fluffy. You want me to sniff of the rum? We sniff of the rum? Oh, you're not that impressed, are you? Right, give me a second. You're knocking stuff over now. Be with you in a minute. Right. Leave the mice alone. Fed up you dragging the mice into the house. Then I find them a week later under some furniture, dissolving. Hey, it's nature. And the way I look at it is that domestic pets tend to be completely reliant on their human owners, quote unquote, because dogs have owners, cats have staff. And if it wasn't for the food out the tin, out the packet, then pets would starve. But not so much cats, particularly when they've got access to the countryside. And I do know that my cats supplement the food I give them with what they catch out in the fields and down by the river and round the Bothy, which I don't know a thing about. Maybe the smell of alcohol attracts mice, I don't know. But I know that if I was no longer here, they'd probably have a good chance of survival and within reasonable comfort. You see, nature always bounces back. So this is Ralphie Review 972, and although I usually review single malt Scotch whisky, every now and again I just want a change, and I want to treat myself to some other spirit that I've heard good words about, and I'm prepared to pay a premium if the quality's there in the experience, and that is why I bought myself a bottle of J. Bailey Rum Agricole, Rum, R-H-U-M, French spelling, Rum Agricole from Martinique in the Caribbean islands. Very beautiful island, Martinique. Still has a strong French legacy, and they speak French in Martinique. And there has quite a complex multicultural aspect to it. It's one of these islands that I look forward to visiting sometime in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring the island to me in the form of this bottle of 2002 vintage Millésime, probably pronounced that wrong, aged rum. This is roughly £100 a bottle. It's expensive, but this is seriously aged rum, and it's been done well. The reason it's been done well becomes more manifest as you spend more and more time exploring the contents of the bottle. Sure, I think they've probably dosed it. Sure, I think there's a little bit of natural colour gone into this rum, but the thing is, unlike whisky, with its industrial style of colourant E150A, it's natural sugar caramel that goes into rum, and it bonds much more successfully. The nose, by the way, on this rum is something else. I can tell you right now, I am not disappointed. As someone who's predominantly a single malt Scotch whisky drinker, what I'm enjoying so much about this is it's just different. It's just giving my senses of smell and taste a change of scenery, a change of location, a change of provenance, a change of ingredients, a change of style, a change of history, a change of geographical reference. It's as good as a break is to have a change. The nose is beautifully complex, spicy, intense spicy. You can't particularly pick out one single one, although I'm getting notes of clove, cardamom, cinnamon, allspice, mixed spice, soft gingers. The nose smells like a really good quality cognac. And when you taste it for the first time, you think, this should be at a higher strength. It's bottled at 43%. But then we've got to bear in mind that the strength in the barrel for a really, really old rum, it's not going to be that far away from 43%, depending on the luck and the thickness of the wood and a few other factors. Because losses of both water and spirit out of casks maturing in Caribbean islands is horrific. It's very, very high. They call it the duppy share, depending where you are. And the duppies tend to be very, very kind to themselves. They're not sipping like the angels in Scotland as they waft about the warehouses, getting the little angels share of something like allegedly 2% a year. Not at all. There's far more evaporation going on in Caribbean warehouses, and this is why if you ever get the opportunity to visit a warehouse storing rum anywhere in the Caribbean or near the equator, it's quite a heady experience. You're just walking around and you can feel this sense of intoxication. Anyway, moving on. This is, on first taste, it seems quite simple. It seems slightly anemic almost. And the first piece of advice I would give you in approaching an old rum, now I'm talking about this old rum, but I'm talking about any old rum, is sure, add a drop of water, but literally keep it a drop. Rum does not take the same volume of water to open up as a whisky does, even when it's young. I've found this, I've noticed it over the years. When you roll this rum around the glass, you get some incredible coat lines and legs. The legs are really thick, but bear in mind, there will be a little bit of sugar syrup in this. If it isn't added at the end, it's probably added at the beginning when the liquor's going into the cask. Into a charred cask, probably. A repurposed cask. And I think in the instance of Bailey's, I think they're using ex-French cognac casks and brandy casks. Because as the note, or the kind of simple woodiness, that initially what comes across as woodiness, it will, over time, and this is one that you'll take a couple of hours to get through it, if you're doing it right. The woodiness just becomes more and more complex, more sophisticated, more intriguing, more nuanced and subtle as time goes on. Now I've added a tiny little drop of water to this, and we're only about 10 minutes in, but I can tell you, this glass is going to last me at least an hour. In fact, it's going to last me the rest of the night, which is going to be about 3 or 4 hours, because I don't intend to get to bed before midnight. Because I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a wee rum session, in front of the fireside, with YouTube on, listening to the reggae and the calypso, and a little bit of voodoo stuff as well, and a little bit of tropical trance. Because when you're really enjoying something, having the right mood is so important from getting a return on your investment. Now, this cost me, I think, about £98. That's a lot of money, but hang about. Ralphie, I hear you saying, you know, are you really enjoying it? Is it worth that? My opinion, malt mates, yes it is. It is. Because it's so different from Scotch. And if I was to buy a 20-year-old Scotch whisky, I would be paying almost £200 now. So it's half the price of this. And bear in mind, the speed of aging on the equator in the Caribbean is about 2.5 times what it is in the Northern Hemisphere. It's called equatorial aging. So, and it's tropical aging as well. And this is another thing that I just want to comment on before I forget to mention it. I've been doing a lot of perusing around British and European rums. And I have to say, 10 out of 10 for passion projects. And people are giving it their best shot making their European and British rum. But it's different. European rum is not equatorial rum. It is not Caribbean rum. It is not Mauritius rum or Indian rum or Australian rum. It's different. It's almost a different spirit. The profile, good way of putting it, profile of tropical aging of rum at its original location is, it gives it a warmth. You feel there's a little bit of the sunshine of the place comes into the bottle. And this may seem trite and sentimental, but hey, I'm getting it. I'm noticing it. And it's not an illusion. There is a distinct difference between tropical aging and aging of rum in Europe. And where I am in Britain, because I'm in the British Isles, right in the middle of the British Isles, in a small island, I know for a fact, having tasted rums which have been brought over from a young age from the likes of Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, and then I get to taste them. They're delicious, they're lovely, but the whole warmth of the character has been replaced by more of an analytical, systematic complexity of rum spirit. Now, it's really the only way I can describe it, and particularly with independent bottlers in the UK who are trying to make rums more approachable to whisky drinkers by finishing the rums in ex-whisky casks. It's a real thing. You actually start to see, you taste it and say, is this whisky finished in a rum cask or rum finished in a whisky cask? Because to be honest, I'm really not sure anymore. You have this homogenization and morphing, and something gets lost in translation when rum is matured in Europe, whether it be in Holland or in Liverpool. A lot of rum is matured in Liverpool. Good location, actually. But I must say, I'm just thoroughly enjoying that. And I want to go back, let's refocus back in this bottle. They really don't give you that much information about it. The website doesn't give you that much information because rum distilleries are behind the time. I can't think of a single rum distillery which is putting a QR code on the back of the bottle to take you to the tasting room at the rum distillery where someone will actually, who's made the rum, will actually tell you what it tastes like and hope you enjoy it. That's all you need, a little 5-minute video. No fancy lighting, no editing whatsoever, just someone to say hello and to say, by the way, thank you for buying our rum. We're glad you visited. I hope you enjoy it. This is what we think you tastes of. And this is how, if you want to drink it straight, you bought the bottle, you can do that. And if you don't want to drink it straight, here's a few little local cocktails that we have. It'll happen. In fact, it could possibly happen at Bailey's because it's owned by Rémy Cointreau, a French corporate multinational. And this brings me back to the casks used. You will find the use of ex-cognac casks. used at various distilleries in the Caribbean because of the French connection. A very good example is Barbancourt from Haiti. In my opinion, arguably the Caribbean's finest rum maker. But hey, what do I know? I'm a whiskey drinker, blah, blah, blah. Let's have another taste of this. I could spend hours nosing this alone. It is soft, sublime, it's sweet, but enormously complex. It's subtle, understated, rich, voluptuous. I don't think I've used that word before as a descriptor. Voluptuous. It's elegant. It's fantastic. Taste. Big, sweet, savoury arrival. It grows gingery, rose water, cranberry juice. Spices banging, popping everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. It's not huge intense. I mean, to get this at pure cask strength would be absolutely phenomenal. But in my opinion, this has been reduced down to 43. 46% would have it'd have been worth an extra 20 quid in the price. Seriously. But the development is a medium development. It's not particularly long, but it is rich, very warming, super spicy, understated. And then that wood starts to creep in. What was a simple wood note becomes a more complex. It's softer wood, leathery wood, sandal wood, spicy Lamazan wood, a taste of cognac, fine cognac in the development as well, just as a point of reference, just brings it together. And as a single malt Scotch whisky drinker, I am having so much fun. It's like changing the dial on the radio when you've been listening to too much Scottish folk and country dancing music. You know, the music you get from Scotland, and all of a sudden you're getting something far more exotic and alluring from far sunnier climates. And that's the way I would describe it. So what kind of rum mark am I going to give this? As you can tell, it's going to be a good rum mark. Here it is. .86 out of 100 for J. Bailey's Millésime 2002 vintage. It's a rum market. Is that rum? Yeah, it's the rum. I'm seeing it in my viewfinder on the camera in reverse, you see. And I'm never the brightest to start with. But hey, it's part of the experience. What would I conclude by saying is that the entire Bailey's range is actually pretty decent. There are far better value versions for this. You find them in the triangular bottles, which tend to be fairly unique to Bailey as rum producers, as a rum distillery. And it kind of stands out in the shelves of shops. They do various vintages. They've done 1990s vintages. So this is one of the most recent, really old rum vintages, and it's delightful. I'd also add that it's Appellation d'origine. Pardon, j'avais très peu français, mais c'est sur le conteneur. Appellation d'origine contrôlée. So there is a sort of French cognac standard being brought into this rum, and it's a beauty. You will not get many rums at this quality for less than £100, and I don't see that price holding for much longer, to be honest. You know, for one reason or another. Hey, it's not my fault. I'm just reviewing the stuff. We taste before I go. you'd have this rum, right, in your whiskey collection, or in your rum collection if you're a rum fan, and you just want to add a few drops to something a lot younger to see if it will inhabit and bring a sense of age to a younger spirit, which I assure you it most certainly will. You do it in experimental bottles, little 10cl bottles, so as not to waste your rum or make mistakes. But take a whiskey like something that's not too heavily flavoured, like Glenelgan, for example, or something that's, well, even Glenfiddich. Yeah, actually Glenfiddich would be a really good example because it's a relatively anemic single malt. If you added just a wee drop into your glass of Glenfiddich and just put a lid on it and left it for the following day, I must say you'd be really surprised at how an old rum, like an old whiskey, like an old cognac, how it can really lift a younger spirit and give it so much more substance, despite being a relatively small volume being added. But that's the way it goes. Anyway, I'm done and dusted here. When we pop back again, I'm just going to give you a general overview of where I think rum is at the moment internationally. No doubt there will be bloopers, because there are bloopers, because I stick primarily to Scotch single malt whiskey. But there's things happening in the rum scene that I just want to share with you. And I want to make it clear, it's purely my personal perspective and opinion, and it may be slightly misinformed because we're now in an age where it is so easy to be misinformed whatever you say. Because so many people around the world now have so much specialist knowledge. But this is great because it pops up in the contents, the comments, sorry, which are always worth reading. I'm Ralphie, wishing you well, a yo-ho-ho and a bottle of. We'll see you for the extras soon. 972 extras. Bye.